What is going on, traders? We got a lot to talk about. I mean, what do I really say here? What do I really say here? I guarantee yesterday you went down your For You page, right? You saw nothing but bullish videos. You saw all these bullish videos, all these YouTubers saying we're about to rally, we're gonna keep going and all that. And then there's me, the GOAT, the champion, God's right hand man, letting you know it's not over, buddy. We're about to drop. Bulls just got trapped. And here we are. Here we are. So, in this video, we're going to go over where do we go from here? Are we going to continue to see more downside, or are we going to see a dead cat bounce that possibly leads into a rip your face off rally? You know, the things that everybody thinks is going to happen that's probably not going to happen. Well, that's what we're going to talk about. So before we start, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So first things first, today in the Discord, another beautiful day for us. I told you guys in our last video about these APP puts that institutions jumped in, the 325 strike. Feel free to check out where APP is now. We took profit on those this morning, and then we did another APP play this morning at 10:15 a.m. Eastern time. We got in at 4.50. We took profit at around 6.40. All right, made about a good, what was that, about a close to $200 on that play. So congratulations to Discord members on that. And then we jumped into AVGO puts, 175 strike. Feel free to check out where AVGO is now. We jumped in at 2.41. We took profit at 3.30. I mean, what more could I really say here? All right, winners tab once again. Discord members are killing it. He made $1,000 today off Eli Lilly puts. I mean, come on. This guy, he's new. He's been making profit all day. His account is up $749. I mean, the list goes on. This guy, he's new. He made $100 off of SPY puts. Been talking about SPY dropping all day. This guy, he is new as well. I think he's new. He might be like a week or two new, but regardless, $2,000, $1,000, $1,000 off of all QQQ puts. Talked about QQQ dropping today in the Discord. AVGO, that's one of our plays, or one of my plays. He made 40%. That's our rule. We always take 40% unless it changes due to market conditions. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, another AVGO puts, this guy made $52. It doesn't matter how much you make as long as it's profit. This guy, once again, he's new. He came into Discord, took initiative, asked questions. No matter how dumb he thought those questions are, he continued to ask questions, and now he is killing it with all these screenshots. I mean, the list goes on, guys. Vic's practicing for the turtle. That's crazy. All right, but regardless, killing it. Discord members are killing it. Discord link is in the description below. So let's talk about today, guys. All right, so in our last video, we talked about this looking like a trap, or yesterday looking like a trap, right? We're looking at the SPY 4-hour time frame, and one key thing that we kept talking about is these bear flags that are appearing across the board. Now, our key level here for the SPY is 567. That is our last line of defense before we start filling this gap here all the way towards about 564, 565, right? Now, one thing we know about gaps, right? We know that gaps have very strong support and resistance. So I always assume, no matter what, I always assume that we are going to bounce off a gap. Now, the question is, where do we go, right? How far do we head towards the upside from here, or bounce towards the upside from here? Right now, my first target is about 571, 570. We saw that the market had a hard time breaking below this key level. Ultimately, if we were to go higher, I'm looking at about 573.59. This is your dark pool level, and the ultimate level of all levels is 575. There's a lot of dark pool activity there. You possibly form some type of double top. This will be your neckline, and then you break further down. All right, so that's what I'm looking at if and only if we get a bounce towards the upside. Again, anytime we head towards a gap, right before the gap, I always assume that we're going to bounce from there. That's just an assumption. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's just something, it's just a rule I play by, okay? Now, if we continue to head further down, we're looking at 567. We want to break below 567, right? After that, you're filling this gap. I think that goes without saying, and then you're heading towards 565. Now, quant data. Be mad about it. I don't care. Quant data. We go back to March 24th. March 24th, and I talked about this, right? I told you guys, at least I think I told you guys, or at least I said in the Discord, that institutions were loading up SPY puts for March. Let me actually redo this real quick. Hold on. Bear with me. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. All right, so I told you guys, institutions are loading up SPY puts, right? specifically 546 puts. These were loaded up when the SPY was at 574.10. So they're eating good right now, right? These were loaded up on March 24th at market close. This was last Friday, I believe. Right at close, 5 minutes after close, you saw institutions load up these 546 puts for the expiration of May 16th with a premium of 1 million, 3 million, 1 million. And look where the SPY is now since they entered. So you're gonna have people tell you that options chain don't work. They're gonna tell you that quant data don't work. Here you go. Here's the proof right here. Just because it doesn't happen right away does not mean it's not going to happen, right? So this is what I was talking about in the Discord. So the question is, are we going to head further down? I do think that is going to be the case. Are we going to head towards the 540s? We'll have to wait and see. But ultimately, if we get back below 564, right? 564. We talk about this level all the time. You get back below this gap fill, yes, the floodgates open all over again to 550, 540s. Therefore, these plays that the institutions or whales got in will be open. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at for the SPY. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful day for bears, right? Triple Qs. So triple Qs is breaking back below its rising wedge pattern. This is a bad sign, right? Right now, we are below our key level of 485, 486, more or less. You're kind of filling this gap. You haven't completely filled it yet. You're looking at a move towards 481 before you fill this gap. And then from there, you could potentially see some type of bounce, right? You just retest back towards the upside, hit 485 again. Highest you're looking at is about 488, which I do think this is most likely the scenario that could happen before you head back towards the downside on the triple Qs. It's also important to note on the daily time frame, actually on a lot of these indices, ETFs, even stocks, you're seeing a lot of evening star patterns. I think there's one on the SPY. Let me go back real quick. Yes, you have an evening star pattern on the SPY here. All right, you have a bullish candle, your doji, and then you have a bearish engulfing candle. And I talked about this being a possibility in our last video. Let me actually bring up the 200 and the 50 for you guys real quick. So yeah, we talked about this being a possibility in our last video, right? Where is the 200? Okay, it's in the way. Okay, here we go. So I told you guys I did not like this doji right here forming right above the 200 MA. What did we talk about? We said that this shows that the market is uncertain, that we're going to continue to head further towards the upside. And then I said I would not be surprised we reject from that double top neckline. I erased the neckline, but you guys get the idea, right? We reject from the double top neckline and then we form an evening star pattern, and that's exactly what happened. So we can easily continue to head further down between either tomorrow or Friday. Tomorrow, it is very much possible that we head back towards the upside, possibly head towards 571. Highest we could be looking at is 573, 575 range, and then we'll see this evening star play out, and then we head back towards this gap fill all the way at 565. All right, again, you break below 564, you open the floodgates to 550s, 540s, right? Triple Qs. You break back below 480, you're looking at a move back towards the 460s, all right? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just saying you open up the doors to those levels. Right now, we're looking at 468 if we get back below the 480s. So that's what I'm looking at for the triple Qs. As far as upside goes, I think it goes without saying, you want to see a break and hold above 495. So you want to see some type of break and retest from here. I'm not counting on it anytime soon, but it's very much possible. And then from there, you're looking at a move towards 499. All right, so let's look at the NASDAQ real quick. All right, so I don't really talk about the NASDAQ because the NASDAQ has been like telling tons of lies, and I always tell you guys, one is always telling a lie, one is always telling the truth. And today, the NASDAQ was lying, right? Because the triple Qs, well, the NASDAQ was above a key level here. And, you know, I would go back in time, but that's just going to take too much time. But right here is where we pretty much opened today, right? We opened above this key level on the NQ at around above 20,300 more or less. But while we were above this level, I was letting Discord members know that triple Qs was at resistance, right? So right here, this is where I think it was right about, yeah, so right here, there's resistance right here. I actually erased it, but there's a gap resistance right here, right? And triple Q's opened below this resistance here, right? So I was letting Discord members know that one of these is lying and one of these is telling the truth, and I was leaning more so on the triple Qs just simply based off experience, right? That triple Qs was telling the truth, and almost immediately at open we see an absolute rejection. I mean, as you guys can see, I don't make these patterns up. They're just here. Okay, I don't force it. We reject it here, rejection here, rejection here, rejection here, and this is what led me to believe that we were looking at a trap, that bulls were about to get trapped heading into into the rest of this week. So that's what I'm looking at right now. So what's important to note here on the NASDAQ is that you are pretty much bouncing off this gap fill level. Again, gaps have very strong support and resistance, right? So we haven't filled this gap yet on the NQ. So what I'm looking at is, and this could happen during pre-market, it doesn't have to happen tomorrow or anything, where we break back towards the upside and retest this level at around 20,300, 20,280 more or less before heading back towards the downside and start filling this gap, right? So that's what I'm looking at on the NQ. Now, if for some reason we do decide to be bullish, maybe Trump, I don't know, Trump just decides all of a sudden out of nowhere, hey, yeah, screw tariffs, whatever the case may be, then we do have plenty of space back towards the upside, towards 20,700, 20,600. So that is very much a possibility. Ultimately, as long as we stay within this bear flag, guys, you can't really assume too much. We can make another bounce within here, or we can just break down. Okay, as long as we stay in here, it's really tough to say. But I'm leaning more so on more downside. Obviously, there's going to be bounces along the way, but ultimately, I'm looking at more downside from this point on. And that's pretty much all I have for the NQ. ES, you gave up 5,800 on the ES. That is not a good sign. Okay, that is a terrible sign. Okay, so if you are bullish, right, or you are a perma bull, you're bullish, whatever the case may be, you did not want to see that happen. Okay, I talked about this in the Discord. 5,800, you wanted to see 5,800 hold. You gave up 5,800. Best case scenario heading into maybe tomorrow is that you retest 5,800 and then you start heading towards this gap fill. That's the move that I'm looking for right now. I don't see a world where we really just go crazy towards the upside unless something changes. And as far as our politicians, economy, tariffs, all that fun stuff, you guys get it, right? And so that's what I'm looking at, right? If we do head towards the upside, I'm looking at a retest of 5,800. This can easily happen overnight. It doesn't have to happen at market open, and then we just do it all over again, right? And if we are going to fill this gap, we're breaking below the bear flag here. And once you break below this bear flag, you open up the floodgates to some horrendous levels to the downside. We're not going to talk about it yet, but yeah, you start breaking towards 5,700, you fill this gap, you're breaking out of this bear flag. All right, so something to pay attention to. Okay, so let's talk about the VIX. All right, the VIX. I give you guys the keys to the city on this channel, man. VIX, clean, clean bounce here. I mean, it's crazy, right? I told you guys 16.8 is something you want to look out for. We didn't exactly hit 16.8, did we? Yeah, we get about 16.97. So pretty close, right? You bounced off of that level. You bounced off this trend. You bounced off this fair value gap. I told you guys that you should be looking for a bounce around this area here unless you break further down below 16.5. And look what happened. You broke down. Not only that, we go to the daily time frame on the VIX and it bounced off. This is actually a morning star pattern as well. So that's going to be interesting. This is a bullish pattern off a downtrend. That's insane. So yeah, you're forming a morning star pattern off the 200 MA on the VIX. Now, me personally, I don't think the VIX really respects the 200 MA. I guess it kind of does, but it doesn't, like, it always spikes through it all the time. So it's kind of annoying. It's something you really shouldn't depend on, in my opinion. But granted, today the VIX decided to respect the 200 MA, so you're looking at a morning star pattern, while at the same time you're looking at the SPY, the triple Qs. You're seeing these evening star patterns. So something to really pay attention to. Right now, I'm looking at the VIX to head towards about 21.5, and then we'll have to see what happens from there. So crazy stuff, crazy stuff. So let's talk about some stocks real quick. Tesla. I mean, I told you guys about this hangman pattern. Now, granted, I was not sure about this hangman pattern simply because it was bullish. But yeah, I mean, the hangman pattern formed right on top of the 200 MA. Diabolical. Absolutely evil stuff, right? I told you guys institutions are in 265 puts on Tesla as well. Want to see how those play out, and boom. I mean, you got a hangman pattern, and I wouldn't say this is an evening star pattern. I would have liked this candle to be a lot bigger, but you know, if it looks like the pattern, assume that it is until proven otherwise. So yeah, if Tesla, let's actually zoom out a little bit here. All right. So if we zoom out, Tesla is hugging this trend right now. If Tesla breaks this trend, it's heading towards this gap fill at 250, plain and simple. Okay, if it breaks this trend and hold, guys, so you bounced here, you bounced here, 270 is your dark pool level. So let's mark it out. All right, it's really simple. You zoom out, boom, that's your level right here. You see these guys right here, boom, right there as well. And then you got more guys right here. So rejection, rejection, rejection. This is the level you want to see hold when it comes to Tesla. If you're bullish, if you're bearish, you want to see both this trend and 270 get absolutely decimated. From there, you're looking at a move towards the gap fill at 250. Easy money. Okay, so that is what I am waiting for. I let Discord members know that that is what I'm waiting for, and then I would definitely be looking at some puts on Tesla. So that's what I'm looking at. Now, again, historically, Tesla does not bottom until April or May, and April is around the corner, right? It's what is it? March 26th today. April is right around the corner, guys. So do what you want with that information. You guys let me know what you think about Tesla in the comments below. AVGO, I've been waiting. I've been plotting. I've been waiting so long for this thing to tank. Finally, we are here. I've told you guys a long time. It wasn't a long time ago. It was probably like a week or so ago. I told you guys this thing is going to head towards 150, 160, somewhere around that range, and it is finally broken below its 200-day MA. Not only has it broken below the 200-day MA, but it is also breaking this trend right here. So you bounced here, you bounced here, you bounced here, you broke below this trend. I mean, the stars are aligning right now. They are absolutely aligning. And then I want to say this is a symmetrical triangle that you just broke through as well on AVGO. I mean, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I think AVGO is going to continue to tank from here. Best case scenario, and this is what I'm waiting for to jump back into this play because we took profit on this play today. I'm looking at a possible retest of 183, 184, somewhere around that range, and then boom, we do it all over again. So that's what I'm looking at for AVGO. I mean, you can't be bullish on this. It's almost impossible for you to even want to be bullish on this thing and looking at this. But I digress. Right? Another thing, I almost forgot. I mean, right here, guys. Boom. So let's map it out. Let's map it out. Rejection, 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 rejection. I mean, and you broke. I mean, this is money. This is absolute money. This is I'm praying. I said this in the Discord. I am praying that this thing retests 183, 185. And I'm telling you now, I'm entering puts. I tell you guys all the time. I do not just talk on my channel. I play what I talk about on my channel. Simple as that. So right now, I am waiting for AVGO, or I'm hoping AVGO retest this level where these guys are. Not only that, retest the 200 MA. Not only that, but get pretty close to retesting this trend line. I'm head diving into puts. You have a gap all the way at around 168 as well. It's not a massive gap that you can really see clearly, but it's definitely a gap right here. It's like a fair value gap, I guess. And yeah, 160 is my target, 150 being the lowest. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for AVGO. It's impossible for me to be bullish on this thing at this point. With that being said, we have to talk about SOXX in order to really talk about AVGO, right? Because SOXX number one holding is AVGO. You're breaking below this rising wedge pattern on SOXX, and so if SOXX just so happens to pump back towards the upside, I'm looking at a retest of this gap level at around 200, 201, 201, right before heading back towards the downside. Now, I'm being cautious here because if you zoom out, right, and this is why I'm not really diving into AVGO just yet. I would like to see SOXX break this trend. So you rejected here, and then you just did this whole dance here. It's just crazy, right? I would like to see SOXX really break this trend, and I'm assuming that this rising wedge is like giving it momentum to break this trend. So we'll see. If it breaks back below this trend, GG's, put the controller away. You are trash. Uninstall the game. That's what I'm looking at for SOXX. If SOXX does this simultaneously while AVGO, I'm hoping rejects 183, 185 range, please believe I'm jumping into puts all over again. So congratulations once again to Discord members that jumped into this play with me. This is exactly what I was waiting for a long time, and that was annoying. This was so annoying. Look at this. You just consolidated for like 2 weeks straight. Insane. So great play. All right, great play. So another stock I want to talk about is Apple. Of course, we got to talk about Apple, right? Apple. So I'm gonna do this from scratch. Okay, I'm gonna do this from scratch. So where is it? Shoulder, head, shoulder, your neckline. So you have two trends here. Okay, so you have this trend here, right? But this is not your neckline. Okay, this is not your neckline. I want to make that clear. Your neckline is right here. This is your neckline for Apple. Okay, that is your neckline. If, and the reason why I'm doing this from scratch, because I obviously want to teach you guys, right? But I want you guys to really lock in here. If Apple breaks back below this neckline at around we'll just say 217 to be safe. GG's, okay? GG's. I'm telling you now, it looks like Apple wants to head towards this neckline right now. It probably will bounce from here. Worst case scenario, you do one of these. Right? That's the worst case scenario where you hit the 200 MA all over again. You also have the possibility of a death cross happening right here. The 50 is heading towards the 200 MA, right? Pretty bad sign. This is the worst case scenario here. Best case scenario, it destroys this neckline. These guys right here start panicking. If you stop these guys out of their position at 210, Apple is going to tank, and I'm telling you now, it's heading to 180. Easy money, okay? It's one thing to break if you break below a neckline or head and shoulders neckline one time, that's one thing. You do it twice, there's no coming back. Okay, there's no coming back. So if this thing breaks again, these guys are going to panic. They're going to get stopped out of their position. They're going to leave their position, and then bears are going to take full control of Apple. All right, so that is what I am waiting for Apple. I'm hoping that this happens. All right, I am praying this happens. If this happens, yeah, that's devastating. But ultimately, I want to see this happen. Obviously, we're going to wait on the death cross or a potential death cross to happen here. You got the 50 getting pretty close to the 200 MA. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But that is what I'm looking for Apple. Your key levels for Apple, 217. All right, plain and simple. That's the main level I'm going to be looking at. 225 is your level towards the upside. You get about 225, then you're heading towards the 200 MA at around 229 to 30. All right, and what else? What else? What else? Someone asked me about Bitcoin, said I need to go over Bitcoin more. That is fine. I understand. I really just been abandoning Bitcoin, so I understand. Bitcoin. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame here. I haven't plotted this thing in a while because it just really isn't doing anything. You know, it's doing something, right? Like it's consolidating towards the upside, but it's not like making any big moves. It broke 84K and then it just like went to 88K and then it's just doing this, right? This is the 4-hour. It's just consolidating. So it's just really, it's not interesting. And when Bitcoin consolidates, you got to assume the market is going to consolidate, right? But you have this massive rising wedge pattern. I mean, clean, really clean, guys. You can't even argue this, right? So you have this massive rising wedge pattern. So best case scenario, right? If you're bullish, Bitcoin breaks above 88K, heads towards 90K, highs you're looking at about 91K. Boom. All right. This thing is diabolical. This rising wedge pattern, absolutely diabolical. This breaks, you're looking at 73K. We talked about 73K before. So Bitcoin, I think it's due. I think its time is coming. All right. It's above the 200 MA. I think this is a setup. I mean, even on a daily, look how clean this rising wedge is. I mean, you can't argue it. You just really can't, right? So yeah, I think Bitcoin is going to tank. I think Bitcoin is going to head to the abyss. I forgot about Nvidia. Let's talk about Nvidia. Yeah. So I said in the Discord. All right, I said in the Discord, Nvidia gets back below 117. You open the floodgates to 113. I mean, and then 113 is your last line of defense, guys. Simple as that. You break below 113, 110 is next. Ultimately, the key level, the level of all levels, and I still think this thing is heading towards 100. But the ultimate level, the main level of all levels that you want to see when it comes to Nvidia, 103. This level right here, we did not test it. Okay, I mean we tested it, but right here we barely touched it, and then we went back towards the upside. I think Nvidia is trying to head here. Okay, if you give up 103 on Nvidia, if 103 gets given up, forget 100, right? Forget 110, forget 113. If you give up 103 on Nvidia, get your suitcase, grab that suitcase, all right, and throw it out the window. All right, just throw it out the window. I don't know where I'm going with this, but regardless, Nvidia is going to tank. All right, simple as that. That's where I think if it gets below 113. Okay, simple as that. You have a death cross, 50 MA, 50 SMA crossing below the 200 MA. It's a matter of time. And what did we talk about in our last video about death crosses, right? What did Nvidia do? It consolidated. Let's just go back in time. Okay, let's go back in time for the new people, right? Because I'm sure new people are watching, right? Last time Nvidia had a death cross, what did it keep doing? Right? Death cross. Consolidated for a week, tanked. Consolidated for a week, tanked, consolidated for a week, went up, and then consolidated again, tanked some more. This thing dropped 50% when it had a death cross, guys. 50%. So let's go back here, right? Death cross, consolidated for a week. What are we doing right now? Tanking. Do the math here. You do the math, all right? So you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. You go down to the 2 hour time frame. I mean, you're breaking below the symmetrical triangle. I mean, what else could I really say here? Best case scenario, you retest 115 actually. If you're being optimistic, you can retest 117, 118, and after that, you're going back to the abyss at that point. So you want to see 113 hold at this point. Ultimately, again, key level 103. IWM Russell. I haven't talked about Russell in a while. I said this in the Discord that I am waiting on the Russell to get below 204.95 in the Discord today. Hopefully I can find it. But yeah, this is what I said. I said waiting on IWM to close below 204.95 to consider those whale puts with 198 strike. May not get it before close. We didn't get it before close. It is what it is. So I didn't jump into the play. But if you're wondering what I'm talking about as regards to whales, our Discord bot alerted to us today that institutions are in IWM 198 puts with a strike, I mean, not a strike, expiration of April 17, 2025. Confidence level is 62. Premium is insane, 7 million premium. So that is what I'm waiting for when it comes to the Russell. You obviously have a rising wedge pattern, super clean, guys. Again, this is your key level here. Let's zoom in. This is what I'm looking for. I want to see 404, 204. What am I talking about? 204.95 break, and then you're filling this gap at around, it's really not much, but around 204, 203. But ultimately, you break below this rising wedge, chances are you're going to start heading back towards the 190s on IWM. So that's what I'm looking at when it comes to the Russell. I guess we could talk about SMH real quick since we talked about SOXX. You go to the daily time frame. You already had your death cross on this thing. I mean, look at the 50. Look at the 50. Absolutely just leaving the 200 MA in the dust right now. So that's what I'm looking at right now, guys. I mean, it's obviously going to head further down. I think it's going to head towards 215 from this point on. Do what you want with that information, right? But that's what I'm looking at when it comes to SMH. Best case scenario, you simply retest again because they keep retesting these same levels. 227, you retest 227, 225, boom, you're heading down. All right, so 215 is my target for SMH. Meta talked about Meta all day in the Discord, pretty much. What? I need to get my numbers right. 614.8 was your key level. That was your dark pool level. You broke below that. You're heading towards 600. All right. 606 is a gap fill or gap fill support level. Right now, you closed right above it. So after that, you're looking at a move towards 598, 600, somewhere around there. So best case scenario, simply retest back towards the upside at around 614.8. If Meta blesses you with a retest of 614.8, I cannot get numbers right today. 614.8, boom. That's what I'm looking at. All right, simple as that. Okay, so that's pretty much all I have, guys. So heading into tomorrow, don't be surprised we get a slight bounce. We may get the bounce during after hours. We'll see. But ultimately, I don't think this drop is over. Okay, I don't think this drop is over. I told you guys multiple times in multiple videos that I don't think the bottom is in. I was bullish for like 1 or 2 videos, and people lost their mind. Okay, so call me a flipper, call me a flopper, whatever weird terms you guys use. But regardless, the market, I think, is going to tank a lot more. Quant data, you're looking at quant data, you see it right here. Let's go to what happened today, see what institutions did today. Okay, come on. There we go. That's so weird how they got it. Yeah, so nothing, I mean, something happened today, but I think it just got erased because I went back in time. But regardless, not much in regards to today that really happened, I should say. When it comes to institutions, they just kept loading puts. Simple as that. They loaded a lot of NDX puts. They loaded a lot of SPX puts. So I mean, you still have a gap that needs to get filled on NDX as well. They loaded a lot of puts on this thing. So yeah, I do expect this gap to get filled at around 19,700. All right. And that's pretty much all I have. APP, if you guys want to see why I got into APP puts, right along with institutions, I mean, it's pretty simple. You just broke this trend and it was game over from there. I mean, that's really all I have. I mean, you hit the 200 MA. So let's go to the daily time frame here, right? You hit the 200 MA. You formed the evening star pattern on top of that. You hit the 50 MA on the daily time frame. And I mean, I think this thing is going to head towards 314. Simple as that. 315, 314. Simple as that. Discord link is in the description below, guys. Okay. Here's my rules when it comes to joining the Discord. If you if you punch walls, or you used to punch walls when your parents told you no, do not join the Discord. If you prefer beef ramen over chicken ramen noodles, do not join the Discord. If someone tells you that you have something on your mouth, on the side of your mouth, and you lick it instead of wiping it off, first off, you're a freak. Second off, don't join the Discord. If you put an unholy amount of mayo on your sandwiches to the point that it's dripping out of your sandwich, you need to go to prison, first off. Second, don't join our Discord. All right. If you have bipolar issues, anything like that, please do not join the Discord. Again, I want quality over quantity. I want people that's willing to learn. I want people that's willing to take initiative, not sit in the Discord being quiet the whole time. And then when things don't go their way, that's when they start talking and complaining and start attacking people. Okay. Quality over quantity, guys. Simple as that. If you don't like the prices of the Discord, don't join. Simple as that. Don't pay. Like, I'm not forcing you to pay. All right. Simple as that. If you see a puppy and your first thought is to kick a field goal, you can join the Discord. That's pretty funny. Okay. It's intrusive thoughts. All right. Intrusive thoughts. Okay. But regardless, guys, we're here to learn. Okay. Simple as that. We're here to beat the market. We're not here to beat each other. Simple as that. New members seem to love the Discord so far. At least a lot of new members that recently joined seem to love it so far. I'm trying to up my game. I run this thing by myself. Maybe I'll start getting some people to work with me, but ultimately I do this by myself, guys. So you gotta bear with me. If you think I'm going to babysit you or anything like that, or you think you're going to get your hand held, I'm sorry, I don't have time for it. Okay, I'll do my best to answer questions, but I'm not going to walk you step by step by step by step, especially if I explain the same things over and over. All right, join the Discord, ask questions, don't be afraid to ask questions, and if you have a problem, feel free to hit me up. Do not just start causing chaos or disrupting everybody because you had a bad day. All right, and that's all I have. So until the next video, I know the haters are mad at this video. They're so mad. They got the after fist right now. I just know it. You guys hate to see me win. I know this is burning inside. All right. Till the next video, traders. Have a good one.